So I stupidly checked Twitter last night before going to bed. I was wondering why people were texting me about looking at Twitter. And then when I went to Twitter, I was wondering why people were retweeting this hateful remark, one of several from Alec Baldwin in the past, into my timeline now. It's a tweet from 2018, and you can read it here. It was after Parkland, and it says, "I see that Loesch wants to take back the truth, and she doesn't care how many dead bodies she has to step over in that pursuit." And then, of course, he was saying the Second Amendment is not a moral credit. So, reckless and irresponsible and ridiculousness. There's a lot of that from the left and their anti-Second Amendment advocacy after Parkland. And it, to me, and I think a lot of other people, it proved that their goals were more about hurting people who supported self-defense rather than saving people from losing their lives at the hands of criminals. And Baldwin was one of those ridiculous people who repeatedly made some of the worst remarks to yours truly and other people. The media have been mostly careful with the wording of the tragedy that took place, but essentially it's this. Last night, it was reported on the set of his latest film, Rust, which is a Western, that Baldwin accidentally shot and killed the director of photography, Helena Hutchins, and injured the film's writer and director, Joel Souza, with a weapon that was actually had a live round in it on set. People say it's a prop gun. I know that that's the parlance of our times when we're talking about firearms on set. There's not really such a thing as a prop gun, but that's the language that's used. So a union that covers prop masters like licensed armorers sent an email to its members this morning that said, quote, "A single live round was accidentally fired on set by the principal actor," end quote. So as the producer and the lead on set and handler of the firearm, you absolutely bear the responsibility of checking your firearm regardless who hands it to you. Now, according to one of the prop masters union and one of their local unions, as well as local law enforcement, the firearm had been chambered with a live round, so it wasn't a blank. There was a lot of speculation and questions about that in the beginning. And like I said, the prop gun thing is just easy phraseology. Now, that being said, one of the things that I've seen that I hate are these comments that about Baldwin getting karma or he deserved it. Helena Hutchins' life isn't a gotcha for Baldwin or Joel Souza's injuries. What happened? Really, this is a safety issue more so than a Second Amendment issue. And I'm not going to play the left's ghoulish game of exploiting tragedy to settle a score, no matter how much my lesser angel is mentally screaming for me to do opposite. Innocent lives matter more than political grandstanding. I don't think that this is a result of malice on Baldwin's part. I don't know what happened with the firearm. I don't know how a live round got in there. I know that in many instances, accidents are called accidents because they're accidents. But I will say this, because I've seen this all over cable news. For people blaming the prop master or the licensed weapons specialist, AKA armorer, solely, no, it is not the armorer's sole responsibility. This is basic firearms 101. And maybe, by the way, if people had screamed at me less when we were trying to educate people about proper knowledge and handling of firearms, we would have this knowledge that would be well known. Basic firearm safety 101. Know what you're handling, because you take responsibility for where your barrel is pointed. Or if you can't do that, don't handle a firearm in film or off-set, especially if you're the executive producer and lead talent on set. No one's level of celebrity absolves them of this responsibility, nor does it justify any kind of recklessness. I would not set foot on a range with anyone who believed that they are not responsible for what happens when they are in control of a firearm. This is why we say in firearm etiquette, you treat every gun like it's loaded because the person handling the gun is responsible for where the barrel points. Now, I don't know what Baldwin's feeling right now, but I would pretty much imagine, we've clearly had our differences, but he's probably in a really dark place considering that a woman has lost her life. A child has lost his mother. And it doesn't make a damn bit of difference probably to his grief that it was an accident or it was, whatever the details were that led up to this. I'm not the left, right? So I do get angry when I'm expected to degrade, or other people are expected to degrade and copy the leftist ghoulish behavior and lack of sympathy and overall trashiness when faced with the decision as to whether or not to offer prayer or hate in the wake of tragedy. So no. It's kind of, think of it as a proof of life that the soul-sucking politics industry hasn't destroyed everybody's goodwill or overshadowed at least the reason why I do what I do. I figure a lot of people have the right to be angry at Baldwin's past words, perhaps few more than me, but The best advocacy for a cause is heart. There's a family that is missing a family member now. There is another man who's injured, and another man whose heart and conscience are injured right now. So join me in being human and saying a prayer for the Hutchins family, for Joel Souza, and for Alec Baldwin.